Hello and welcome to another edition of The Connector Live. My name is Michael Rice, aka The Connector, and I'm going to be your host for today's program. Today's topic, networking. Okay, we're going to talk about what is networking and different ways you can utilize networking in your life for productive outcomes. Okay, now when you talk about networking, you know what? It really doesn't matter whether or not you are a doctor, lawyer, investment broker, contractor, plumber, barber, whether or not you are an employer or you're unemployed or you're seeking employment or you're employed, whether or not you are in the private or public sector, whether or not you're in entertainment or you're working for the government. In any one of those fields, industries, the ability to establish mutually beneficial relationships is essential to your success. So pay close attention because I'm going to be sharing with you some tips on how you can better and more effectively utilize your networking. I'm going to start with mindset on how you think about going about your networking, and how you're thinking about your network. That's going to be vitally important as you move forward. One of the key things when you talk about networking, though, is that networking is not really taught formally. It's not offered in public school system. There's no courses on interviewing, no courses on resume writing or having an effective professional presence, and no courses on networking. And even when you go into undergraduate school, you go off to college, or even when you get into graduate school, there are no courses on strategic networking. And in fact, it was Peter Drucker who was a management guru. He wrote, I think it was called The Effective Executive, and wrote numerous books on management and working in the corporate field. He said that most business decisions are made over lunch and dinner. Yet there are no MBA courses on networking. So you see, this is kind of essential as a part of the tools that you use, as part of the strategy that you have to be successful, that you learn really how to master this entity called networking. We're going to break it down and make it really, really simple for you. One of the things you have to also consider is that if you're going into business, or even and I'm gonna say in business, whatever your business is, because whether or not you're in sales or private public sector or whatever, or you're really an entrepreneur or business leader, the ability to build relationships is essential as you move forward. In fact, it was John D. Rockefeller, millionaire, wealthy family, owned hundreds of businesses. I believe what he said was that a business founded, a friendship founded in business is better than a business founded in friendship. And essentially what that saying is, it's better to have found the people that you're doing business with and create relationships with business people than it is to try to take your friends and go into business with them. Which kind of makes sense, because the same things that may attract your friends may not be the same qualities that you need in a good partnership, in a good business relationship. So it's essential that you utilize these skills, and I just want to share with you some key things right here. The three key parts of that mindset that can help you in terms of your networking, in terms of having the right and appropriate attitude, and that is the things you look at is who you know, what you know, and who knows you. So, who you know. Now, we all know a lot of people, right? Whether or not to become in contact with a lot of people in our lives. And in fact, if you have a cell phone, you probably got hundreds of contacts in there. But the question is, I guess, among them contacts, who are your real allies and advocates within your walking database? Right? Who are those people that you can call on to in a clutch? They're going to be there for you. Who are going to be there in the time of crisis, in times of emergencies? Who are going to be there when you're trying to, maybe you're starting to start a community initiative. Maybe you're trying to start a business. Maybe you need help with something, you know, your car's broke down on the highway. Who are you going to call? Right? You're trying to build an addition to part of your house. Who are you going to call? Right? You need some advice, anything. Who do you call? Those people that you can call, they represent the advocates and allies in your life. Those are the individuals that you want to have in your cell phones, and those are the people who you know and you're going to call upon. Now, let's move on. What you know. Now, certainly this comes into consideration when you actually get that job, when you actually get that position, when you actually get that contract or award or whatever, because now you're in a position. But what calls into question now is your competency, right? Because you can get a job certainly by using your influence, by knowing somebody, by having a friend or an uncle or a buddy or something that gets you in on the job. But if you don't know your butt from a hole in the ground, then you're going to be found out. You're going to either lose the job or you're stuck in a dead-end position. And also the person that recommended you. Think about you. My friend recommends somebody and they're a mechanic. And they come on the job and they don't know anything about cars. And they come and start working on cars, start jacking up the cars. Are they going to think favorably of the person that recommended them? No. No, they're not. So you could bring down the credibility of your friends by you not being competent. But part of networking is bringing competency and something called integrity. There's honesty and being reputable with you when you come onto a job or you come into a relationship. That's vitally important. Whether or not it's personal, intimate relationships or it's business types of relationships. And finally, who knows you? Right? More important, I think, than who you know. But I mean, of course, you got to know somebody for them to know you. But I think in ranking them, you need to consider this who knows you when you're going about doing your networking, when you're setting up a networking plan. Because you may think that you have people in here who are advocates for you, but the real advocates in your life, the real allies that you have, know you, got your contact information, you know, got your phone number, got your email, and they know your goals. They know what you're striving for. They know what your qualifications are. They know that you have integrity, right? And they go around talking about you, advocating for you when you're not around. One of the keys to networking is having people to advocate for you when you're not around. Okay? So who knows you is vitally important as you move forward. And you must make sure part of your job as a master networker, as an urban networker, is letting people know what your abilities are, what you bring to the table, and that you have integrity. Letting them know and impressing them with that, impressing them so much that they're going out and advocating for you, that they want to tell people about who you are and what you're doing. Okay? So let's look at the factors again. Who you know, and those are the people in your database and all around you. How many of those people in there are actively involved in advocating for you and got your back? What you know, that is what your strengths are, right? What your capacity is, what your competency in doing that job, what you're advocating for, whatever that is. If there's an initiative that you're trying to do, wow, you're the best person to do it, right? And that you're displaying that and showing that to people. And finally, who knows you? Who are those people who are going around and they're advocating for you? Who are those people who you want to cultivate in your network that can promote your product, your service, and most of all, promote you? Those are considerations as you go into playing the game of networking. And we're going to have more of that in the next video. And we're going to go into some tips and a strategic mindset that you can have that's going to take you to the next level. In the meantime, this is Michael Rice, the Connector, saying keep connected. Because we're building a network one relationship at a time. Join us.